Yo, what up, YouTube? It's Richawd back with another video. I'm gonna be talking about this topic called black fatigue that's going around TikTok and the internet right now. Uh, I learned about this like a week ago, and I just kind of sat and marinated on it, just kind of. I think my last video was probably like a week ago, so um, I ain't really been in the state to post a video, but for whatever reason now, just as I was driving home. This video touched my spirit. So I was like, let me talk about this. You know what I'm saying? And that is black fatigue. Now, what is black fatigue? I think I'm gonna try to start the video off with a little clip of some of the TikToks I was seeing if I can find them. Um, and if I put that in the beginning, you should know what I'm talking about. If not, I'll explain it anyway. Um, Basically what they're saying black fatigue is, bro, is people that are tired of niggas, basically, because there's black people and then there's niggas, you know what I'm saying? Black people is just like any other race of people, it's a race of people, it's a human being. Niggas, now niggas is different, bro. Niggas is they're their own species, they're animals, they're gremlins, as you may call them. They're demons. Niggas. Yeah, niggas are the ones that you see on the news wearing ski masks and all type of stuff that, makes it bad for black people, so-called. This is why everybody is so mad at quote unquote, this whole black fatigue thing, pretty much just nigga culture, because it boils down into other cultures. Now, whether you agree with this or not, black people are very influential. You see us everywhere. You see us in sports. You see us in entertainment. You see us in hospital. Like we're literally everywhere. It's a false perception of black people that, with this whole nigga culture and we have this victimization culture, bro. It ain't the Jim Crow days no more, bro. There's nobody holding back black people. That's, a lot of niggas, have this mentality that they doing what they doing because of, white supremacy and they was born in hell and all these excuses, and, I used to be one of them quote unquote woke niggas when I was young and in high school. That's why I really relate to a lot of these people. And it's unfortunate because, I've just outgrown a lot of friends mentally. Like, I still wouldn't mind like kicking it with them. Like, I don't got no problem with them, but I'm pretty sure they probably have a problem with me because, it was a time on social media where I was very vocal about how I felt about the world. These days, I don't really post, as much because I just don't care to anymore. It lost its thrill to me, I guess, but, over the years, I will always be very outspoken on social media, and I would talk about political things that I felt about the world, and I was boldly about it, and it pushed a lot of people away who, had more of a liberated mentality, more of a worldly mentality, even though nobody who has met me in person can just say I'm a terrible person. I was a terrible person to them. People can say I've had bad moments with them. People can say maybe I've done some things out of anger, but I think it's very few, if any, people out there that can just say I just treated them like complete trash. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like, here's my thing, bro. I don't want to get sidetracked with that shit. The black fatigue, right? Here's the problem with it, and here's why everybody is mad at this whole nigga culture. Basically, nigga culture. Y'all know what I'm talking about. Loud music, loud in the store, arguing, just ghetto shit, bro. You see it at your job. They make your job hell. Entitlement. All the bullshit. The victimization is always somebody else's fault. No accountability. Like nigga shit, bro. Littering, throwing trash on the floor, stealing, robbing, committing crimes, nigga shit, bro. Just being degenerates, bro, living a careless type of lifestyle, bro. These are the type of people. And I just have an issue with, how it's painted, bro, because like I said, bro, it's only a small percentage of so-called black people that conduct themselves this way, bro. And a lot of people either haven't really been around black people or you know what I'm saying? They haven't, it's really what it is. They haven't really been around black people, because if you've been around black people, what's being perpetuated over the internet is false. Just like kind of if you live in Chicago, if you live in Chicago, it's not as bad as people outside of Chicago think it be. Why do people think Chicago, you just gonna pull up and goddamn get gunned down because of social media? You know what I'm saying? But if you talk to niggas that live in Chicago, they'll be like, man, Chicago just like anywhere else, nigga. You got your good side, you got your bad side. And nigga, if you on the bad side, keep your head on the swivel, bro. Like, nigga, if you in California, it's the same shit in LA, nigga. Okay, it's good sides of LA, it's bad sides of LA. If you're on the good side, you're good. If you're on the bad side, keep your head, nigga, even on the good side, keep your head on the swivel. But definitely, if you're on the bad side, keep your head on the swivel, man. You'll be okay. Yeah, you'll be okay. But I just have a problem with, how much people know about this, and they don't know about other things like, black scholars in college, black boys and girls getting degrees, black doctors, males and females, black nurses, black physicians, black scientists. Like, black people are doing a lot more than nigga shit, bro. So the fact that it's become a whole TikTok trend, quote unquote, black fatigue, like, I get it, bro. I get it. Is being over perpetuated, but we support the nonsense, and I'm guilty of it sometimes. I talk about how a lot of these things is destructive to the culture, bro. But I'll be the first one listening to some rap music, where they talking about robbing, stealing, doing all type of stuff, but it just hits, bro. You know what I'm saying? It just hits different. It just is what it is. But at the end of the day, this whole culture, we support it, bro. So how we gonna turn around and talk about black fatigue when we support the rappers that promote this nonsense, bro? And like I said, myself included, I'm guilty. I listen to some artists that promote bullshit, so I'm not perfect, but it's like, I'm also not out here talking about black fatigue, bro, because, you can't complain about a problem that you're the root of. We're a part of this degenerate culture that is being celebrated and normalized, So as long as we continue to stream these people's music and go to these people's concerts and support these people and fund these people, this stuff isn't going anywhere. The people that cut the checks are like, oh, people like degeneracy? All right, bet. That's all we gonna have these artists push is degeneracy. Because deep down, everybody kind of likes that side of degeneracy because it's kind of anti-system, anti-government. You know what I'm saying? Like, a lot of people can relate to that quote unquote rebel spirit. But here's my point. Most people don't have the courage to live that out. So they live through these rappers. That's how you have a lot of these suburbians and all this, that, and the third. No disrespect to my suburbians. I used to live in the suburbs, Also, I grew up in the city though, but I used to live in the suburbs for a little while. But you know what I'm talking about? Like, you had these suburbians, bro, and it's crazy. I used to go to school. You see it a lot in high school, bro. The whole thug maxing thing. You have a lot of these youngins living through these rappers, bro. Getting their aura, getting their vibe, getting their hoes, all from, you know what I'm saying, mimicking a rapper, living through a rapper. And it works for a lot of them, especially young and in high school. It gets them females, it gets them clout, it gets them friends. You get like that cool factor. And basically all they doing is living through these rappers. A lot of them, they not even in the streets for real. The majority of these people, majority of people don't have the courage to commit a crime because people are scared of consequences. People are scared of going to prison, Majority of people don't have the courage to unalive someone, because one, a lot of people just don't have that, and they gonna be shaken. They ain't gonna be able to pull it. Like, a lot of people just don't have it in them, bro, to do that to somebody. You know what I'm saying? So it's like this whole culture thing of black fatigue, bro, it's only niggas, bro. Now y'all might as well call this niggas fatigue, but don't just put the whole race of black people in this and be like black fatigue, like all black people just trash. Like, I don't like that, bro. Like, emphasize who you talking about, bro. And to give these people credit, in their videos they did, but it's like the whole hashtag is black fatigue, bro. That's all people are gonna remember is black fatigue, bro. And I just don't like that. You know what I'm saying? I wish it was a different word for it, like degenerate fatigue or or nigga, like I said, nigga fatigue. You know what I'm saying? Like, why not just call it nigga fatigue, niggas fatigue? Because that's what we talking about, bro. Let's be for real. We're not talking about your regular black person that, you know, smiles and greets you and acts like a normal human being, knows how to articulate themselves. It's not all black people are illiterate and talk with all this slang. And hey, I talk with a little bit of slang, but I'm not illiterate. You know what I'm saying? Like, I know how to read and shit. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, just because somebody's talking a certain way or conducting themselves a certain way, maybe that's just what they've been influenced by, but that doesn't mean that they're just a terrible person. You know, here's my thing, bro. It don't matter what the race is, bro. A couple weeks ago, I was at the gym, and it was this, God bless her heart, because this somebody mama, this somebody grandmama, but God bless her heart. She was working at the gym, and she was just giving me a hard time coming through the door. And she basically, my name came up. I'm in the system, like, I know I paid, my bill for the gym just came out, so I'm like, I know I'm good. You know what I'm saying? And but I had lost my card, so she had to look me up or whatever. And you know what I'm saying? She looked me up, and she's like, I can't find your name in the system, bro. She had me waiting there like 5 minutes, and she started letting like mad niggas in ahead of me, bro. Like, I kid you not, she let at least 30 niggas in, bro. But my point being, bro, she was just giving me a hard time, just trying to get through. And then she was like, did you say your name was Emmanuel? It was some name that I did not say. I'm like, Emmanuel. I'm like, ma'am, I never said Emmanuel. I said my name is Richawd. You know what I'm saying? You know, if you know what my name actually is. You know what I'm saying? And that's actually my name too, you know. But but anyway, she was just being an ass, bro. And then this other guy, you know what I'm saying? It was a Mexican dude. I seen him. He had let me in the gym the other day, and I just seen him. I'm like, bro, hey, bro, can you please let me in the gym, bro? Like, this lady over here giving me a hard time, bro. Like, I know I'm in the system, bro. You just seen me here yesterday, bro. He's like, hey, man, he asked me for my birthday, because that's how they look up your account. He's like, such and such, Richawd, is that you? I'm like, yes. He's like, you're good to go. Took him 15 seconds, bro. This lady got me sitting here for 5 minutes. But at first I was going to be like, maybe she got something out for me. But, bro, she was like that with everybody. And it's a black lady. So that goes to show you, bro, it don't matter the race, bro. Sometimes people are just an ass, bro. It's like, sometimes people are just an ass, bro. Like, it just is what it is. There's some white people who I've gotten poor treatment from. There's some Mexican. I've gotten poor treatment and good treatment from everybody. I've dealt with low-level shit from everybody, bro. So it's like, but never will I say, just because I may have encountered one black woman that was just giving me a hard time and just being an asshole, all black women are garbage. All black women don't know how to communicate and have poor customer service skills, because her customer service skills were trash. I could tell nobody was messing with this lady. Like, she was hassling niggas, trying to run niggas down, like talking about she gonna call security on them if they don't come back, just because the system didn't swipe their badge or some shit. Like, bro, you think these niggas really sneaking into the gym, bro, with a fake badge, bro? Like, damn, bro, just let them niggas go, bro. Like, she one of them people that just took her job way too serious, bro. But I went off on a tangent with that. But my point being, bro, black, white, purple, green, it don't matter, bro. Sometimes people are just an ass. Just like that lady. She was just an ass, bro. Like, and at first I was taking it personal. I was low-key getting a little pressed. But once I seen she was just like that with everybody, I'm like, this ain't even worth my time, bro. Like, you feel me? I'm glad old dude came and let me in. But back to the whole black fatigue thing. And that ties us to my point. I get it, bro. Like, some black people are like that black lady, bro. Terrible communication skills, loud, obnoxious, rude, just doing the most. And she was clearly playing with me, bro, because I did not tell her my name was no Emmanuel, bro. Like, it don't even sound like my name. So she was just playing with me. And then she was letting mad niggas in. First I asked her, I'm like, excuse me, can you finish and let me in, please? Like, she's like, oh, I'll get to you in a second. And she just keep letting niggas in ahead of me, like 30, 40 niggas in. I'm like, bro, I'm sitting here like 5 minutes, bro, because this lady got my name wrong. And I feel like she did that shit on purpose, bro. Because when the other dude looked my name up, I told her my name, and I was in there in 15 seconds, bro. But I just had to rant and get that much, because that had me blue. But yeah, that situations like that fuse into the whole black fatigue thing, bro. And like I said, I get it. Like, to me, that's some nigga shit right there. That lady was perpetuating, bro. You know what I'm saying? And this is an articulate lady, you know. So it comes in different shapes and sizes, bro. But like, or different forms or whatever. But my thing is, bro, if you're around black people, bro, you know that the majority of black people, don't move how niggas be moving, bro. A lot of black people getting educated, they work hard, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's just a lot of, like, we got these narratives that we lazy, we're illiterate. Like, bro, that is the lowest level of niggas that are lazy and illiterate and criminals and all that. Like, that is not all black people, bro. And that's my problem with the whole thing, bro. Like, that lady at the gym, she's not all black people. She got on my nerves. She get on damn near everybody's nerves there. But she not all black people. But it's black people like her that make it bad for us, bro. That make it bad for other black women. You know what I'm saying? That you know what I'm saying? They saying this mad black woman getting fired and this, that, and the third. Like, bro, we got to conduct ourselves better, bro. In these public settings, bro. Like, we got to conduct ourselves more professionally. And like I said, that is the lowest level of niggas. Majority of niggas, bro, they go to their job, they professional, they punctual, they work hard, they do their shit, and they make their bread, bro. Like, they normal, regular citizens, bro. But we also have a demographic of quote unquote black people who I call niggas, who are just degenerates, bro. And they get promoted, and they on GTA, you know what I'm saying? They on the video games, they the rappers, they in the movies. Like, that's all that's being promoted. The majority of black movies that you see is gonna have something to do with selling dope. It's just gonna be nigga shit, bro. Like, I'm sorry, the majority of black movies that we get just be nigga shit, bro, these days, bro. Like, you can tell it's clearly an agenda to promote the lowest demographic of ourselves and make that cool, and that's why we've gotten to where we've gotten to with black fatigue, bro, because this is what social media is promoting. This is what the powers that be are putting in the airstreams. So people all over the world think the average black person, they're going to stereotype and think if you dress a certain way or talk a certain way, you are a certain way, which isn't true, But like I said, that's because the majority of people haven't really been around black people, you know what I'm saying? Like, to really speak on it, you know what I'm saying? Like, and around them in mass, you know what I'm saying? Like, and actually have black friends and see how they conduct themselves and move with their families and stuff like that, bro. Like, the majority of y'all just looking at movies and social media. Y'all don't know what really goes on. Even some black people, bro. Like, y'all may have grew up in the suburbs, not around a lot of niggas and shit like that, and the only niggas that you can your brain can compartmentalize with, whatever the word is niggas, because you remember, like, where I grew up in my little white suburbs, the white people were quote unquote proper and this, that, and the third, and the niggas in the hood, they was all gremlins and this, that, and the third, but you wasn't even around them. You grew up on the white side. You know what I'm saying? So you don't know the day-to-day, the trials and tribulations, what they deal with, what they go through. You don't know the love that they be showing despite all of what's going on. You just see things you just see a war zone from the outside looking in, but you're not inside that war zone, bro. Like I said, bro, like, if you inside, if you are just around black people, bro, the majority of us aren't like that. The majority of us aren't stupid and sheeps and all this, that, and the third. There's a lot of black people that think on a higher level. We got a lot of black people thinking on a three-dimensional level, the two-dimensional, that's surface level. Three-dimensional is spiritual. It's a lot of black people thinking on a spiritual level. It's a lot of people that aren't too. It's a lot of black people that aren't too, but I'm just saying, if you get around black people, you're going to meet a variety of people, just like damn near any other demographic of people. Now, do we have some real bad cultural flaws? Like I said, we do. It's this whole nigga culture, bro. And like I said, I'm not innocent in the whole thing in terms of supporting it, bro, because I support it to a certain degree, bro, because it's like I said, it just feels real and it's entertaining. It's fun, it's lit, like nigga shit. It do be lit, you know what I'm saying? But it's like, at the same time, bro, like, this isn't the most productive way to carry yourself as a person, bro. 9 times out of 10, it's going to lead to you, checking out of here before you're supposed to check out, or ended up in jail somewhere because you did something stupid, bro. Or, you know what I'm saying? Just you may not even go to jail or anything like that. You may just live life poor and broke and always in a slave mentality the rest of your life, tying yourself to nigga culture. But once you break out of that and realize, like, bro, there's nobody stopping you from being successful. There's opportunities out there for, black people, white people, Mexican people, Spanish, same thing as Mexican, Indian people, like Asian people. Is opportunity in America, I would say. I don't know about you other countries, but in America, there's opportunities everywhere, bro. You can get a job as a quote unquote black man, bro. There's nobody holding you back, bro. We just got to stop being victims, bro. And we got to stop moving with a slave mentality, what I would call it, bro. And we got to move with more of a rulers and a king mentality, bro. And how does a king and a ruler move? A king and a ruler gets hold over its kingdom, its family. It sets roots, it sets morals, it sets commandments, if you want to call them, or it just sets a standard, to live by, a culture. That's what we're lacking, Our culture that we tie ourselves to, what quote unquote being black is, bro, is degenerate culture, bro. And that shouldn't be our culture. Our culture needs to be, we need to popularize, and normalize, moving orderly, moving structurally, being fathers, being great fathers and leaders and teachers, what I'm saying, for our sons and for our daughters, having a wife to be a great mother, to be a great teacher for our children, like the culture is what's lacking for black people, most importantly, bro. And that's where we get into all this nonsense where, our culture can get hijacked by degeneracy. Why are we allowing this? And like I said, I'm guilty. I'm going to continue to say that, oh, you're a hypocrite. No, I know. I ain't going to lie to you. I try to work on it, but it's just, like I said, ain't nothing like a good hood movie, bro. You know what I'm saying? It's just something, you know what I'm saying? That stereotype, that archetype usually brings an entertaining, funny, or sad, like it triggers your emotions, It feels real. It feels relatable, So yeah, bro, I definitely support it, but it's like, I know we can be greater, bro. You know what I'm saying? I know we can be greater than just victims, and degenerates, bro. I know we can be way greater than that. But like I said, bro, we got to rebuild our culture, and it starts with our families, bro. You can talk all about the politics and all this and that's going on, bro. But the main thing, bro, we'll never get respect until we have order within our families, bro. And it starts with strong leadership from quote unquote men, bro. It's a lot of weak, sorry men out here, bro, that can't teach a fish how to swim, bro. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, we got to build knowledge and have, strong things and strong morals to live by and to teach, bro. It's a lot of men not teaching their sons anything for real, bro. You just teach them how to work and be submissive, bro. You supposed to teach your son how to be a man, bro. And being a man ain't all about submitting all the time. You got to teach your son, like, it can't always be about submitting to the white man, and the white man so bad this and the white man so, man, we got to stop raising our boys in this victim mentality, bro. Like I said, it starts with the fathers. You got to raise your son to be like, man, you a man. You got to go out there and you got to get it. Life ain't going to be easy. Nothing's going to be handed to you. You got to work for whatever you get, bro. It's going to be obstacles in life. It's going to be ups and downs. But as a man, you stand tall, you stand firm. You know what I'm saying? You can't be a leader if when problems come, you go duck and you go hide and you go run. As a man, you got to stand bold and face those problems and deal with them. Head up, shoulders back, chest out, like a man, through the good and through the bad, through the ups and through the downs. When you down, keep your head up. When you up, don't put your head up too high. Stay humble, right? These are qualities that weren't taught to these degenerate niggas out there. They didn't have a father. A lot of them grew up in single mom households or they father, ain't teach them nothing, bro. So they grew up victims and they grew up betas. It's a lot of demographics of black people growing up betas, bro. Simps, No leadership skills, no leadership qualities, a slave mentality. You can't lead shit if in your mind you a slave. No, in your mind you got to be a king, bro. You got to be a king. You got to think like a king. You got to think like a ruler. You can't always think in this submissive mindset, bro. You got to think like a ruler, bro. You know what I'm saying? You got to think about someone who's trying to control his circumstances and you got to put your family in the best positions, bro. A lot of these boys, they out here lost because of their fathers, bro. It's your fault, bro. Back in the day, bro, like if your father was a carpenter, They'll raise their son to be a carpenter. If your father was a doctor, he'll raise his son to be a doctor. Why? Because you got to keep the lineage going, right? So if all else fails, I've taught you this skill, son, from birth. So you should for sure have some sort of way to make money so you can continue on the legacy. A lot of men didn't do that, bro. You know what I'm saying? A lot of men just try to have their son figure it out. No, as a man, you got to be an authority in your son's life. You gotta be evaluating your son from the time where he's an infant and figuring out, all right, what may he be good at? What may he not be good at? Will he be able to do what I was able to do? You know? Maybe you're tall, you're athletic. You think your son gonna have some athletic genes, nigga. From a kid, you got to start prepping him for whatever sport you want him to play in. You know, that's why you see a lot of players that go into the NBA. They dad was in the NBA or they dad played at a high level, right? Because and now it was just taught to them and now they can flourish. You know what I'm saying? It's the same thing. So that's also a problem, bro. Not enough guidance from fathers, bro. Too many fathers just letting their son figure it out. No, you're supposed to be there guiding them to figuring it out. And then once they a man and they fully established, all right, now you just got to go make your own decisions. But as a child, as a boy, you're supposed to be leading and guiding them every step of the way until they 18, bro. And by the time they 18, everything that you've taught them should have prepared them for life, bro. A lot of these youngest, bro, they get into 17, 18, they're not prepared for life, bro. They don't understand, the magnitude of their decisions, bro. They don't understand the urgency of time, bro. Time waits for no man. And then you spend 2, 3, 4, 5 years running the streets, smoking weed, hitting licks, going in and out of prison. Cause you ain't have no father. You ain't had no father when you was a boy. You know what I'm saying? Checking you, putting that fear of God in you. You should fear, as a little boy, you're supposed to fear your father like God, nigga. I know I did. my dad might as well been God, nigga. When I was a little boy. A lot of these men, they don't have that respect from their son, bro. They son disobeying them. They son not listening to them. They son not respecting them. It's because you're not teaching them nothing for real. When you really teach your son something and instill it in him and he understands it, he's going to listen to you. He's going to respect your guidance. A lot of these young niggas don't respect the guidance of their elders. They don't respect what their elders are teaching them. And a lot of them are in the right? A lot of these elders teaching this whole simp culture, simp this, simp that. No disrespect. But it's a lot of young niggas coming up. They like, nah, bro. I ain't moving like that, bro. I don't know who taught you. I don't know what book you read, nigga. But what I read and what I believe, I ain't moving like that, bro. That's some sucker shit. That's some simp shit, bro. I'm moving like a man, But yeah, bro. So it's a real disconnect, bro, with the families, bro, and that leads into this whole black fatigue thing where, we're kind of a wild card, a black person. I would say that we are a wild card. You don't know what you're going to get from us. A majority of other demographics of people, you kind of can predict what you're going to get from them. You're not always going to be right, but people with a strong culture, the majority of they people will act according to the culture. Black people, we don't have a strong culture right now. So it's a wild card when you meet a black person. You don't know what you're going to get. You don't know what they're going to believe. Do they believe anything? Are they a 2-dimensional thinker? Are they a 3-dimensional thinker? You don't know none of these things, bro. We're a wild card. I would say that. And that's what happens when you have a weak culture, bro. You know what I'm saying? You become unpredictable, but we have to strengthen our culture. So when people see niggas, when people see black people, I may say, we need to present ourselves better so they have a better lasting impression of us, And like I said, the majority of black people don't move like niggas. That's why I feel like it's bad to just say black fatigue. Like, I feel like that whole trend needs to be emphasized to nigga fatigue. But I've made that point. But yeah, that's the root of the problem, though, man. That's the root of all that degeneracy, bro. Poor leadership, bro. And I blame fathers, bro. That's who I blame. To whom much is given, much is required. Biblically speaking, if you believe in that stuff, I believe in that stuff. A man is supposed to lead. And so-called black men are doing a poor job leading their kingdom. The black kingdom has fallen, right? And it's up to us as quote unquote black people to pick the kingdom back up, and until we do, we're going to have all these poor narratives being perpetuated about our people, bro. And the strong culture, that all that bullshit being promoted about black people, we would shut that shit down, bro. And the strong culture, see, we protest for the bullshit, bro. But when it come to real shit, bro, when it comes to the bullshit that these BS narratives that they promoting about so-called black people, we ain't gonna stand up and fight for that. You ain't gonna stand up and fight for your own brother. You know what I'm saying? Bruh, unless it's a nigga getting shot by the police or, you know what I'm saying, some type of BS, bro. You ain't gonna stand up and fight for niggas when it comes to, how they perpetuating us, bro. You know what I'm saying? Throughout the media, bro. Y'all, we not gonna fight for it. We not gonna fight for how artists have lost their creative, their creative ability, how, woke and intellectual so-called black people are being, tossed to the side, put on the shelf. Excuse my speech right now. I don't know why my shit a little slurred or whatever. But you know what I'm saying? Black people who really got something deep to talk about or something to say, and not even just black people, people in general right now, but especially black people, bro. Like, they don't want, smart black people out there. You know what I'm saying? Like, and if you are smart, you got to dumb that shit down. That's just kind of what it is right now. And I think that's the war, bro, because that's pulling at our creative strings, bro. That's pulling at our authenticity. That's how you rewrite history, bro. Right now, what they're trying to do is rewrite history, bro. They've done it over and over again. A lot of you have been taught things. You've been taught that, you've just been taught a lot of lies. I would leave it like that. And what they're doing right now is going to help perpetuate more and more lies, because they're rewriting history. The real outspoken, people talking about some real shit, they get called conspiracy theories and crazy, and they get gang stalked, and their YouTube can't grow. You know what I'm saying? That's the war right now, bro. You can't be genuine no more as a so-called black person. You got to dumb your shit down. Put it at a kid level. They won't let you grow past the kid level. It's a lot of YouTubers, they came up, they was young and they was at a kid state, they was in high school and shit, and they blew up. Nigga, they not gonna be able to make more mature content, bro, and blow up, bro. Talking about more mature things, bro. You seen a lot of them niggas go spiritual and started talking about real shit. A lot of them spiritual niggas done got silenced, bro, because they like, damn, ain't no money in this spiritual shit. I'm getting silenced. My shit ain't growing like it was growing when I was talking that bullshit. When I was just entertaining. When I'm just entertaining, the bread is good. When I'm talking about something real, the bread ain't good. That's the problem right now. That's the war right now. So a lot of people who can really be speaking some real shit aren't. And it's not that they're dumb or they can't. It's that they're actually smart, because they like, all right, I can either be a revolutionary, quote unquote, and sacrifice my channel and go against the system and get blocked and get banned, or I can play the game and make this money, bro. And majority of people, bro, especially if this is how you support your lifestyle, bro, they gonna play the game, bro. And even me, bro, I gotta play the game to a certain degree. I just can't come on here doing and saying whatever I want, bro. And that's the war right now, bro. That's why things like black fatigue can be perpetuated, bro, because niggas that are talking real shit, y'all don't fight for them, bro. Y'all don't. When these niggas YouTube channels get taken down, when these niggas channels get shadow banned and they telling you they getting shadow banned, y'all call them crazy. Y'all don't support them. But then y'all want to turn around and talk about black fatigue, but you ain't gonna support a black person, bro. How many of y'all supporting black-owned businesses, bro? Majority of you niggas talking about you tired of black fatigue, you'll be the first one to take your dollar to a white corporation, bro. A nice 5-star white restaurant. You ain't gonna go support no 5-star restaurant that's owned by niggas. You ain't gonna get niggas restaurant on the level to where it's 5-star, but you gonna go put money in these other people's pockets. You don't even put money in your own people's pockets, but you talking about black fatigue, bro. But you a part of the problem. That's my thing, bro. That's my thing with a lot of y'all talking about this black fatigue shit. Y'all be the main ones not supporting, though. Y'all be the main ones like old girl at the gym, giving a brother a hard time, giving everybody a hard time. But it's like, damn, you feel me? Y'all be the main ones, bro. but then want to complain about the outcome, nigga. But what caused this, bro? Nigga, you're a part of the cause. Sometimes I'm a part of the cause, you know, so we can't just sit around and complain about the effect, bro. You know, we got to talk about a solution, you know. But yeah, man, that's my thing, bro. Like, creativity, bro. Creativity, bro. It's really it's being limited, man. You know, so-called black people that got something to say that you can't really get glorified as much. You know, a select few get lucky and they sneak through the matrix. But even them, they make it hard for them, bro. You know, after a while, after you've built so much esteem and so much power, they make it hard for you, bro. And I think that's really the war, bro. The war is, you know, the Kai Cenats of the world, bro. Like, Kai Cenat can probably make way different type of content, bro, but his handlers are telling him, like, bro, you got to keep making shit for the kids, bro. You know, you can't talk about this, you can't talk about that, you know. So he's kind of in a box. He still makes it work. That's what makes him great, you know, at what he does. I'm not one of these niggas that's gonna hate on him. I don't hate on these streamers. They actually have a very hard job. Being a creator, a YouTube creator, the fact that these niggas is on this shit every single day, bro. Think about that. You get a day or two off from your job, bro. These niggas be streaming every day, bro. Niggas like Kai Cenat be streaming every day, bro. They rarely get a day off, bro. Like, that is some, you know, and not only that, bro, like, it's not like when you at your job and you may not feel like going in, but you still go in and you kind of go through the motions. Nigga, you can't be no streamer going through the motions, nigga. Niggas gonna be clicking off the stream, bro. You feel me? You gotta be in mode all the time, bro. That's why I'm like, bro, like, when people be like, oh, these streamers shouldn't be getting all this money, this, that, and the third. Like, bro, don't hate on the nigga grind, bro. My problem is, you know, they just playing the game, bro. I'm not really mad at them because it's like they know, like, this is the type of content that's gonna get me popping, bro. This is the type of content that's gonna make me money, generational wealth, bro. You know, and you know, it's their business if they don't want to turn that down. Me personally, it's just certain shit I wouldn't be doing. You know what I'm saying? But like, I understand, you know, it's not a route that I would take, but I understand, bro. I'm not like the average person that's going to be like, oh, just hating and being judgmental, bro. Like, put yourself in these people's shoes, bro. You came from nothing, bro. You started your little streaming thing. It started taking off. Now you start making money, nigga. You ain't never had money in your life, nigga. Are you going to sacrifice that money? And some people, they a different type of person. They would. But are you going to sacrifice that money, you know what I'm saying, for your morals, for how you may want to do things? Or are you going to go along with the program, you know what I'm saying, and make that money? A lot of people are just going along with the program. So I feel like we gotta stop putting so much outrage into people and more into the program, bro. Why is the program designed this way? You know, we need to rebel against the program. That's how it would change. See, they're not going to change the program as long as, you know what I'm saying, they continue to put out this bullshit and we support it. But if we stop going to the theaters, if we stop streaming these people's records and be like, look, be all over social media outraged, like, we're tired of this degenerate BS. We want something high intellectual. We're not supporting this low level music. You know what I'm saying? If we really put our foot down, see, that's what people with a culture do. They put their foot down. They put their mouth where their dollar is. You know what I'm saying? Or however the phrase goes. When you have a culture, we don't have a culture. So we not gonna be able to make power moves like that because we can't be on the same page as people, as black people. So how we gonna start a movement where goddamn we can't even agree on red light means stop and green light means go? You know what I'm saying? Like, we got bigger issues, bro. As black people, we can't be in unison, bro. So if we can't be in unison, we're not going to be able to start no type of powerful movement, bro. And like I said, that all starts from having a culture. We have a poor culture right now, you know? We have a poor culture right now. So as long as we continue to support this poor culture that the powers that be popularize and allow, you know, they make it cool. They make it cool and they make it easy for it to be seen. As long as we keep supporting that, we're cooked as people, bro. But like I said, until niggas start putting their foot down or black people start putting their foot down, things will never change. Our artists are, and these people are gifted. You know, a lot of people, it's some of them that don't really got any gifts, and they are what you call an industry plant. An industry plant is someone with no skill, no talent. They was just put in a certain position to perpetuate a certain narrative. And usually a plant, you have to have a dumb person, right? You have to have a person that is a two-dimensional thinker. You can't have a three-dimensional thinker be a plant. So typically they find these plants in the hood, woo up the bam. They figure out if they're a two-dimensional, three-dimensional thinker or not. If they're not a three-dimensional thinker, they're like, perfect, you can be a plant. You know, you're not going to question anything we say, and we can run a little spiritual game on you, and you ain't even going to pick up on it. We can manipulate you, basically, you know. And that's what happens to a lot of these artists, bro. You know, that's what happens to a lot of these artists. So I don't really get mad as much at the artists. You know, I just see them as, you know, pawns. You know, I feel bad for the artists, actually. They're just pawns. You know, a lot of them, they got, like I said, they got into it and they was just trying to change their life, bro. They didn't know all this other shit, all these Diddy parties and freak offs and all this shit will be a part of the equation. You know, they was just trying to feed their family. They was just trying to get out of poverty, bro. And once they got into it, they felt like they was in too deep. They not trying to go back to the hood, bro. So I feel bad for these people that are in these positions. Now, some of them have no remorse. Those type of people I don't feel bad for. But I feel bad for the celebrity that is depressed because they know what they had to do and they regret it, but they in so deep they can't give it up. Or it's really deeper than that. Like, they literally can't. They in way too deep. Like, there is no exiting the pool. Like, you know, if they try to exit the pool, some G-men are going to pull up and be like, well, where are you going, nigga? You know, you feel me? Nigga, hey, you know, if you know, you know. But, so that's my thing, bro. Like, we gotta be, we can't be mad at black people. We can't be talking about black fatigue, bro. We gotta be talking about the system, bro. You know, that's really where our focus should be centered towards. You know, why is the system so flawed? Why does the system allow degeneracy to be popularized? Why in every black movie, why does every black director have to make a hood movie? You know, with hood stereotypes. You know, why can't we have more empowering messages in our movies? You know, why can't we present so-called black young males and men and young women, young female and, you know what I'm saying, young female and young woman, you know, why can't they be presented better? You know, quote unquote black males and black females in movies and in the media. Those are the people who we need to be fighting against, bro. Not the quote unquote the pawn, the slave. They in bondage just like you, bro. You know what I'm saying? They in bondage just like you, bro. It's a hard nigga. You can get mad at Diddy, bro. Somebody taught Diddy that shit, bro. That's really who we need to be mad at, bro. We need to be mad at the nigga who allowed these freak-offs to go on for so long. Clearly, you know what I'm saying? Somebody was cool with it. And Diddy just got a little, not a little, but way too sloppy. And, you know, really, it could be some deeper shit, bro. Like, you know, they got a foul on all these celebrities and shit, bro. You know, they got all these niggas on camera doing all type of weird shit. We heard what Kanye said. Some people are like, a lot of people can't take Kanye serious. He's kind of off his rockers these days. You know, I think, yeah, it's a lot going on with Kanye. But, you know, for whatever it's worth, that nigga Kanye alleged that he was out here, you know, doing some weird activities, I would say, with his mouth, you know, that he alleged he did, you know. So it's like pretty much all of them, and people hate to hear things like this, but pretty much all of them niggas, bro, you know, had to do something strange, bro. I would say a lot of them, bro. You know, I would say a lot of them because I wasn't in those rooms. But from what I know and what I've heard and what I've researched, you know, all the data points to strange activities happening in quote unquote Hollywood, you know, and that's who we need to be fighting against, bro. The people that force this upon people, the people that say, if you don't do this, you're not going to get this contract. The people that say, if you don't promote this, you're not going to get this contract. The people that say, we need an album, we need an album, we need an album. The people that force these streamers to stream literally every single day. They can't take a day off. I don't care what nobody says. Everybody wants a day off. Biblically, they give you a day off. So they slaving these niggas, bro. Those are the people I'm mad at, the people that forced them to do that. They're the reason why these artists are on drugs. They're the reason why these artists are depressed. They're the reason why these artists got baby mamas and try to distract themselves and run and run and run and run and run. They're the reason, bro, because they know that they've had to compromise themselves to get to that point, bro. And I feel bad for that person because who knows, bro? I would like to think that I wouldn't do it, but I don't know. You got the world being offered to you. You're not going to take that, and you've been broke all your life. You ain't really got no family, or you don't get along with your family. You've been broke your whole life. You get offered the world. Now, I would say I wouldn't do it. I would say my morals and all that is stronger. But you never know until you in that room getting offered that deal. You know, because they here's how they do it. They get you to come to a party. You know, they get you high, they get you drunk. You know, they bring all type of women around you. It's like when you're going to get a car, right? Why do they make you test drive the car? Because they know if you test drive, they know it's already 50-50 if you're going to get this car anyway. But if you test drive it, maybe that'll make it 60-40 or 70-30. Because now you done been in the car and you're like, man, this car nice. You know, I remember before I got this car, I got in it and they let me test drive it. You know, before I test drove it, I was like, I don't know, man. It's kind of expensive. But after I test drove it, I'm like, shit, I'm getting this car. You know, the industry is the same way, bro. They gonna bring you to parties and all this, that, and the third. They gonna flood you with money and you know what I'm saying. You're gonna be tripped out and got jewelry on. They gonna get you riled up, and then out of nowhere, hey, can you meet with me at such and such restaurant? I need to talk to you about something. You go to the restaurant and they hand you a paper and you know what I'm saying? They tell you got to do X, Y, and Z, you know, and you got to sign this paper, you know, not in ink. I'll just leave it at that. And, you know, you have to, in blood, agree that, you know, you would keep these things that is going to be told to you, these secrets. You must keep these secrets to fulfill this contract and make this money. And you hearing all this and you like, man, I just want the money. You feel me? You're not really thinking too deep, right? And then you sign the contract. And once you do that, you know, once you do that, it's over, you know. Now you've signed yourself over to Satan, you know. And Satan always comes and collects, bro. You know, now you can repent. You know, it's people that got in the industry. I'm sure they agree to these things, and you know, you don't really hear about them no more, or you know, they not as popular because they may have broken the oath. Sometimes they send you to jail if they got some dirt on you. Like I said, the majority of them, they got dirt on. You know, so if you break the oath, they'll send you to jail. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people talking about that Tory Lanez situation with Meg Thee Stallion. Some people say he broke the oath and was exposing too much stuff. Like, you know, that's just kind of how it goes. You know what I'm saying? But I'm going to go ahead and get out of here. I just realized this video down there is an hour, you know. But a lot of times when I go a period without making a video, my next video is long because I just be kind of long-winded or whatever, you know. But I'm about to go out of town by the end of the week, bro. So I probably won't have as much content this next week or two. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to be starting a new job in a couple of weeks. You know, that's a blessing. You know, be able to, you know, get, you know, stack some money and, you know, pay off some debts, bro. Because, you know, after I got fired, I accumulated a lot of debts due to being broke. So now that I'll be making a decent amount of money, I'll be able to, you know, start paying these debts off, you know. So that's a blessing. But content-wise, you know, I get back in that mode again, bro, you know, and have a lot more, you know, consistent content coming. But, you know, right now I just got some other stuff going on. You know what I'm saying? I don't have a handler saying, post a video, post, you know, like, yeah, I can be a human, you know, I can take a break sometimes if I need to, you know, like, it's all good, you know. But yeah, closing point. When it comes to black fatigue, I know I talked about it a lot in this video. Y'all probably, But closing point on black fatigue, bro. I have an issue with how it's being promoted and the fact that it's called black fatigue when this is a problem that probably affects 25% of black people. I would say out of all black people, it's probably 25% that are niggas. Maybe even less, bro. Maybe even less that are niggas and just degenerate and no good. Probably like 25, maybe less, bro. That's probably a little high. Maybe like 15 to 25%. We'll give it a range, But the rest of black people don't act that way, bro, at all. Even some of the black people that may look like a nigga, walk like a nigga, talk like a nigga, they'll do nigga shit. Right? They'll still do some nigga shit. Just like it's some white people out here that'll do some quote unquote nigga shit. Really all it is, you can say crash out or whatever. They'll make a bold decision. Something that you tie niggas to. The problem with niggas is they do it in excess. They do this shit all the time. They on nigga timing all the time. So it's also some black people that got that nigga in them, but they fight it, right? They fight it because they know it's consequences for nigga, nigga activities, bro. I'll just put it like that, So they hold that part of them back, And then there's other black people, they don't even got that nigga in them, bro. The quote unquote whitewash black people, no disrespect, They ain't sink the hood in their life. They go to the hood and they scared. It's black people out there like that. The ones that talk like this and, got a little white voice, no bass, those niggas. You know what I'm talking about? So yeah, bro, we can't just say all black people, all black fatigue. I don't like that. Call it nigga fatigue, bro. You feel me? Call it nigga fatigue, but don't tie that bullshit to the whole race of black people, bro. I don't like that, But those are my final thoughts on the whole situation. I'm out.